true. I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true. I will rescue you. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true. I will rescue you. And I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true. I will rescue
Good evening, New Season Gospel FM. I will rescue you. I will rescue you. That is God's promise to us. He will never stop marching to reach us. He will rescue us regardless of where we are, whatever's going on in our lives. Good evening, family. I pray that you are all doing well, that your week is off to an amazing start. I want to say welcome to family who are listening on 89.1 FM. Thank you so much for coming on this evening to spend the hour with me as we reflect on our Christian walk. And family who are tuned in on newseasonfm.com, you're streaming from there. Thank you so much. And of course, our Facebook family in the room. Good evening, Yeye. Good evening, Reverend Crescent. Thank you all so much for coming on tonight. I hope that you are all doing well. And your week is, like I said, off to a wonderful start. It's always a pleasure to come on and reflect on our daily Christian walk. I do most of the talking, but it's always interesting to just bring different perspectives on this journey of faith that we are on. It's not an easy walk, but by the grace of God, we are surviving, or I'm surviving only by the grace of God, and I am so thankful for God's mercies and His faithfulness in my life, and just the daily blessings that I receive every day on this journey. And so Faith Matters is just a platform where I do most of the talking, reflecting on how we're being Christ's hands and feet, how we're shining His light brightly for others to see. Because we are called to be Christians 24/7. We're not just to be Christians on Sunday, and then after church is over, then we're totally different people. No, we're called to be Christians 24/7. That is what we're called to do. And so how are you living out your faith at your jobs, when you go to the store, when you are at the gas station, when you're at the bus stop, when you're at school? How are you shining that light brightly for others to see? And so I just reflect on my daily life of things that happen to me, and just how my take on it is, and how I respond to certain things, or most things, if not all things, from a faith perspective. Sometimes not, but just reflecting and sharing just how that journey is for me, and also talking and sharing from my personal reflection pages. And so that's what we're here for, to do, to encourage, to help each other out on this journey of faith. And before I jump right into it, I want to take the time to say thank you so much to our sponsors. We're able to come on the air and do what we do because of your generosity. It's not because of anything that we can't do it on our own. And we're so grateful for your support. Thank you so much for supporting us tirelessly, financially, with your prayers as well, and just coming on whenever our programs come on, and just being there. So I wanted to say thank you so much. For those who've supported financially, thank you so much. Please continue to do so. If you haven't financially supported, and you're still on the fence about it, or don't know how to go about it, please prayerfully consider being a supporter today. The different ways to do so are through Zelle. For Zelle, it's 954-536-1821. Again, that's 954-536-1821. You can also do so through Cash App. For Cash App, it's the $ New Season WC. Again, that's the $ New Season WC for Cash App. You can go straight to our website, newseasonfm.com. That's newseasonfm.com. And click on the give/donate button, and it'll take you right to the page where you're able to give. Um, to the page where you're able to give. It's really easy to do so. If any of those don't work for you, you can most certainly write us a check. We do accept checks. Mail it out to 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida 33351. Again, that's 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida 33351. Good evening, Sister Laurel. I hope you're doing well. So, jumping right into our day, of course, we know that the year's just really racing by. Can't say that enough. It's the 318th day of the year. 318th day of the year. It means we only have 47 days left in 2022. There's only 47 days left in this year. And hopefully you're at that point now where you've done something. This is my usual spiel, like asking you where you're at. Are you able to take stock and see where the growth that you've made, or the progress that you've made, those steps that you've taken towards achieving those goals that you set for yourself at the start of the year? So where are you at? That's my question to you tonight. Where are you at this point in the year? We're only 47 days left in this year. So hopefully you have done something. There's something that you can really glory in and say, this is what I've done. This is what I've accomplished with this, or the steps I'm taking towards achieving those goals that I've set for myself. If you're that person who is just waiting for that big thing to materialize, waiting for that big thing to, yay, this has happened. Please don't be that person today. You need, I would encourage you to just glory in those steps, those baby steps that you're taking towards achieving those goals. Because when you do that, you're able to appreciate more. You're able to just show more gratitude in the whole process and the whole journey, and you're able to see how far you've come. But if you're just stuck on just wanting to see that big thing, that big goal that you set for yourself, then you may not see that, and because you're not seeing it, then you're not really going to feel motivated to keep going, or you're not going to feel motivated to push yourself, or to just keep going, because you're like, oh, nothing has happened, it's not happening, or I can't see anything. But if you're able to take the time to just look back and just say, okay, this is where I've gone. These are the steps that I've taken towards achieving these goals for myself. And once you do that, you're going to find out that there's just so much to be thankful for. There's so much to be proud of yourself for achieving. So be that person today who just really takes the time to check in, to take stock, and really glory in those steps that you're taking towards achieving those goals. Hey, Akil, how are you tonight? And so, of course, we know we're in November. It's novel writing day for all those writers out there. If you love to write, this month is just for those writers out there who are just gifted in really penning down stuff. So write a novel, even if you're not that person, but maybe something that you can try out. Just, say, I'm going to write a page a day. Try to come up with a story. It's also Vegan Month. It's National Adoption Month as well. My holidays, of course, jumping into it. Monday today is Diabetes Day. It's Pickles Day. For those of you who love pickles, it's Pickles Day today. Enjoy yourself with pickles today. It's World Orphans Day. It's Spicy Guacamole Day. I love guacamole. I love anything spicy. So it's Spicy Guacamole. It's Operating Room Nurse Day. So shout out to all those operating room nurses. Shout out to you, all of you. We appreciate all that you do. It's Family PJ Day. So it's a day where you get to just lounge in the house in your PJs with the family. Like, if you have matching PJs, awesome. Just Take a picture of that and save it for later. It's also Seatbelt Day. It's American Teddy Bear Day today. Tomorrow is Entrepreneurs Day, celebrating all entrepreneurs and encouraging others out there to become entrepreneurs. It's Drama Day as well tomorrow. It's Recycling Day. I Love to Write Day. We celebrate that tomorrow. I Love to Write Day. It's Philanthropy Day. It's Raisin Bran Cereal Day. I love Raisin Bran. I don't know who else is out there with me, but I do love Raisin Bran. Um, it's Pack Your Mom's Lunch Day. I don't know if I'm gonna want my little ones to pack my lunch, but I think that's really cute. That's nice. Pack Your Mom's Lunch Day. Clean out your refrigerator. Clean out your refrigerator day tomorrow. This is really important. Have you noticed that sometimes when we neglect our refrigerator, I don't know about you, but in my house, a lot of times you tend to, I tend to forget things in the refrigerator. Like I just, put them in there, and then when I'm cleaning, I'm like, when was this here? How long has this been here? Why do I have so much stuff in here? And so it's clean out your refrigerator day tomorrow. So are you that person who has a lot of stuff in your refrigerator? Please clean it out tomorrow. Wednesday is Geographic Information Systems Day. It's Geographic Info Systems Day. It's Fast Food Day on Wednesday as well. Button Day, Clarinet Day. It's Editorial Support Professionals Day, Education Support Professionals Day on Wednesday. It's International Check Your Wipers Day. I think this is important. I think I need to check my wipers because I feel like still they're worn out. They're not wiping as they should. So check your wipers day. I think I'm going to do that tomorrow instead of waiting till Wednesday. It is Take a Hike Day. It's International Students Day. So on Thursday, a shout out to all the international students out there. International students are super important. I love them. I used to be an international student myself. So a shout out to all international students out there. It's Homemade Bread Day. So who are the bakers out there? We need some homemade bread on Thursday. So homemade bread on Thursday. It's Electronic Greeting Card Day. I can't remember the last time I got an electronic greeting card. I don't know if they still exist. Apparently they do, but I haven't gotten those in forever, and I haven't sent it to anyone either. So, but hopefully, I think I'll try to do that on Thursday. So if I have your email, just look out. I might be sending you an electronic greeting card. It's Rural Health Day. It's Little Mermaid Day. So if you're that Little Mermaid fan, yeah, Thursday is a day where you're like, hey, do everything Ariel on Thursday. It's World Prematurity Day, Enterprise Day on Thursday as well. It's Use Less Stuff Day. Use less stuff. I think I like this one. I believe it was yesterday. It might have been yesterday or the day before. And it was just really interesting because I was trying to declutter my house. There's a bunch of stuff that I really don't need, and I was just thinking, I really don't need all of this stuff. I really need to give a lot of stuff away. My boys got clothes that they hardly ever use, and they're constantly growing out of them. And sometimes I pick up brand new clothes. I'm like, you never wore this, and you're already grown out of them. So I was sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, I really don't use that much. There's just a certain amount of clothes that I have that I just constantly go to, and then the others are just there. So it just really, I was just thinking about how many times in our lives we just have so much stuff that we really don't need. So use less stuff day. I think I like that one. We should apply this every single day, I think. It's World Philosophy Day as well on Thursday. It is Mickey Mouse Day on Friday for all those Mickey Mouse lovers out there. Disney people, where are you at? Celebrate Mickey on Friday. It's Princess Day on Friday as well. Just celebrating all the princesses out there. We're all princesses in our rights. So celebrating all princesses out there on Friday. It's Apple Cider Day if you're into apple cider. If you love apple cider, yes. It's International Stand Up to Bullying Day. I love this one. International Stand Up to Bullying Day on Friday. Again, this should be every single day. I believe this should be an every single day thing. We should be able to stand up to bullying and be like, no, 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 no. We should be able to stand up and say no, stand up for what is right, stand up for others, and just say no bullying. It's Push Button Phone Day on Friday as well. And that would round up. Those are just my holidays. I don't really have a lot of interesting ones or weird ones per se this week. But my holidays to take away this week for sure is International Stand Up to Bullying Day. Definitely going to run with that one. International Stand Up to Bullying Day. I'm probably going to send someone an electronic greeting card, so I think I will do that as well. And I'm going to practice using less stuff. So, use less stuff day. I like that one. I think we need to apply that in our lives. Use less stuff. And so, if you're just joining in again, this is Faith Matters with me, Mnena. Good evening, TJ. I think I see you on there. Thank you for coming on tonight. This is just like I said earlier, it's a platform where we reflect on our daily Christian walk. I do most of the talking. Sometimes you're able to chime in if you are on YouTube or Facebook. But I just talk about how this journey of faith is not a walk in the park, just through my personal experiences, sharing my personal reflection pages, and just my take on certain scriptures that I read and I meditate on, and I just share that with you. Hopefully, you're able to grab something from there, or something that I say resonates with you, and you're like, I've been thinking that too. Or, yeah, I've been actually having that same thought. Or, yes, I think I'm going to try to apply that in my life. So that's what this is all about. And so I started this journey, this I call it the 60-day journey, 60-day journey on November 1st, because on November 1st we only had like 60 days left, exactly 60 days left before to the end of the year. And I said to myself, I'm like, every single day we're like, I'm going to do this at the end of the year. I'm going to try to do this, or I'm going to, like, we have these things that we're like, okay, before the year runs out, I'm going to achieve this, or I'm going to do this. And so I said to myself, in the next 60 days, I'm going to try to give daily affirmations, just go on a 60-day journey of speaking daily affirmations and positivity into our lives. And I said I was going to commit to revamping my personal YouTube page and posting those daily affirmations and positive thoughts on my page. And this is day 14, and I'm happy to report that I have faithfully been doing so since the first of the month. And it's just really because there's something about just setting a goal for yourself and working towards achieving that goal and just pushing yourself. Because many times, like, setting the goal is not the issue, it's not the problem, but is walking and working towards achieving that. That's when the struggle comes. That's when you have things that tug at you, like something will come up and you're not able to walk the whole mile. You're like, okay, I'm tired today, I'm not going to do this today. And sometimes you don't have that person to say, okay, hey, let's go, let's do this. You don't have an accountability partner to do it. And in times like that, you have to be your own encourager. You have to be that person who's like, listen, you got to get up and you got to do this. And so I was able to start that. And I've been going and I intentionally not being recording before, like pre-recording them. I've intentionally been doing it like every single day, so they're usually fresh. They're like great. They're really fresh. I don't pre-record and say, okay, I'm gonna post this one today, or I'm gonna record tonight for tomorrow. No, because there's something about just being intentional and just being, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I set my mind, I set my heart to do this, and so I'm going to work towards getting to this point, or getting this thing that I set myself to do. And so one of my the affirmation for today, which I shared, was many times we find ourselves in situations where we can't seem to get out of, or we find ourselves in situations that we can't figure out or maneuver on our own. And I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes I find it really difficult to ask for help. And many times we're not asking for help for several reasons. It could stem from it could basically just stem from pride. It could be like that we're scared of rejection, or just certain things. There's different reasons, many different reasons why a lot of people don't ask for help. For me, it's most definitely not pride, but most of the time it's just because I feel like if I ask, I'm going to be a burden. So I really don't want to burden someone else by asking for help. Or just, I don't want to hurt someone. Sometimes I don't want to hurt their feelings if I ask them, to help me in this way, or they have so much going on. I don't want to, heap on what they already have going on. So there's so many different reasons that we don't ask for help. But it's important for us to realize that we can't do life alone. And there's certain things that, you just can't. You cannot do life alone. And it's really important when we're able to just really ask for that help when we do need the help. So not being afraid. So the affirmation today was, I am a person who's not afraid to ask for help, who's not shy to ask for help. So don't be afraid. Not being afraid to ask for it. Yes, TJ, pride sometimes blocks out blessings. Yes, asking is battling pride. That's true. That's true. For a lot of people, for pride sometimes blocks our, yes, it blocks our blessings. That's true. And again, for a lot of people it's not pride. It's really not pride. Well, for some it is actually pride. But it's whatever the reason is, it's for us to get to that point where we're like, you know what, I'm going to ask whatever the outcome is. I still will ask. I would not know, I'm not going to know what the response will be if I don't ask. And especially when you know that you can't do something on your own, you can't do it. So not being afraid or shy to ask for help. Are you able to acknowledge or recognize that you do need that help? That's really important. And so my, just straight off the bat, I think I'm just going to share that affirmation with you. That positive thought today is not to be that person who just shies away from asking for that help when you do need it. And I shared the scripture for reflection today with Matthew 7:7. Of course, we're all familiar with that. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. So if you don't ask, you're not going to know the answer. And you can't do life alone. I don't know about you, but I certainly can't do life alone. And again, speaking from my personal experience, I say a lot of times I don't ask because I feel as though I'm going to be a burden to someone else, or I don't want to inconvenience somebody else. And many times, and I've found out that that's 99.9% not usually not the case when I finally ask. People are just willing and ready to, okay, sure, I'll be able to help out. I'll help you in this way. And so it's important for us to recognize and acknowledge that we do need the help, recognize when we do need the help, and to not shy away from asking that. And I was reflecting, actually, when I was thinking about this, I was reflecting also on this passage. We all know the story of the blind man, when Jesus was passing by and he just kept shouting, "Son of David, help me." And so that scripture is taken from Luke 18:35 to 42. So Luke chapter 18 verse 35 to 42, and it reads, as Jesus approached Jericho, a blind man was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard the crowd going by, he asked what was happening, and they told him, Jesus of Nazareth is passing by. And he called out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. So those who led the way rebuked him and told him to be quiet. But he shouted all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stopped and ordered the man to be brought to him. And when he came near, Jesus asked him, what do you want me to do for you? What do you want me to do for you? Lord, I want to see. He replied, Lord, I want to see. And Jesus said to him, receive your sight. Your faith has healed you. Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus, praising God. When all the people saw it, they also praised God. And so when I was reflecting on this, of course, trying to link that to my thought of, asking for help, not being afraid to ask for the help when we need it. I There's a lot of things were going on in my mind. I was just like having light bulbs all over in my head when I was thinking about this, when I was reading through this. So I'm thinking, how many times in life have we felt like this blind beggar? Have we, just sitting by the roadside, we're down and out, we're hard in our luck, and we're witnessing we're just there in our distress, and some people are just simply walking by without any care. So he's there, and people are just like carrying on with their lives. They're going about, they're following, this great guy who's just really speaking to them eloquently and teaching them, and they're not paying attention to this guy that's by the wayside. And, some of them might have probably tossed him a coin, but either ways, he's been. Sometimes we feel like this beggar, like we're being ignored, we're not being noticed. And so some may even have even said, hey, why are you shouting? Of course, some scolded him, like, why are you shouting, why are you disturbing the master? So just as a blind beggar today, sometimes we're unable to give ourselves what we need the most, which is the faith. Sometimes we're in that place, we're in that position, or that hard place where we can't really see. We're blind, not physically blind, but we're just really spiritually blind. We're blind in so many different aspects. And it takes the faith, it takes having that faith on the inside of us to recognize that we truly are blind and we do have a need. He could have just sat there and not even bothered or cared to shout for Jesus and ask for for Jesus to have mercy, show him mercy. But he recognized in his state, in the state that he was in, he recognized that this is what I need. He saw with eyes of faith who was passing by. And it's so funny because he's there. There were so many other people. There was a crowd following him, following Jesus, but yet it was this blind man. I'm sure there was so many people who were there who could physically see, but couldn't really see in the spiritual with the eyes of faith who Jesus really was. But here was this blind man, this blind beggar who physically couldn't see, but recognized that this guy, I can't let him pass me by. I have to get, like, he saw Jesus through those eyes of faith. And so it's really important for us to recognize this, especially when we're in situations, when we're sitting by the roadside, when we're in this blind situation, in a dark place, or things are not going right and we're just down and out. To see, to just have that faith, to see with those eyes, with God's eyes, to see and recognize when he's passing by, and to cry out that we do have a need. Because sometimes we might just sit there and be like, okay, I don't have a need, or okay, he's just one of somebody else just passing, and I'm gonna let him, I'm not gonna bother. I'm just going to sit here. It's another day in paradise. Just me here in my own little dark world, with the little pennies I get, and that's it. But this day, this guy says, no, today is a day that I get to, things get to change for me, because he's passing by, and I'm not going to let this moment pass me by. So that's something that we can draw and really tap into from this blind man. Another thing that I thought of or was reflecting on, was the people who were shouting and like, oh, we're trying to shut him down. Oh, stop, be quiet, don't disturb don't bother the master, don't be quiet, you don't you're being a bother right now. But the more they try to shut him down, the more they try to keep him quiet, the louder he shouted. And so it's really important also for us to realize that when we're going through stuff, when things are happening in our lives, or in the midst of our storms or just life in general, you're going to have people around. There's going to be a crowd around who will try to shut you down, who will try to pull you down, who will try to quiet you. Good evening, Sister Marcia. There's just people who will just be like, okay, you're not going to say a word. I'm not going to let you say a word. Be quiet. You can't speak here. You're not worthy of this place. You're not, who do you think you are? You can't come into this, this meeting. What makes you think that you can get this? So you're going to have those people who will try to shut you down. But like this blind man, the more they try to shut him down, the louder he screamed. Do you have that determination? Do you have that audacity today, to be able to drown out the several noises that are trying to shut you down, to drown that out and scream louder over them, and be able to get the attention of the Savior? Do you have that audacity? Because to me, that is audacity. You need to have that. You need to have that confidence, that audacity to say that, I don't care who you are, I don't care who's around me, I'm going to shout. And because I'm not going to let this moment pass me by. And many times we find ourselves being shut down. Like, we have some things on the inside of us, we have dreams, or we have plans, and then when we say to others, many times those dreams or those plans or those ideas that we have, are immediately shut down. Oh, that's not good. Oh, you think you're going to be able to do that? Oh, so you're going to have all those people who will say, oh, that's not going to work. They'll give you 1,000 reasons why something wouldn't work out. And that's them trying to shut you down, because you're there shouting. You're shouting out to the Savior. You're saying, Son of David, Son of David, save me. And then they're there, oh, be quiet, be quiet. So you're coming with that idea that you have. You're sharing it, or you come with all this excitement. I have this plan. This is an idea for a business I have, or I think I want to do this. I think I'm called to sing, or to write this book, or whatever the dream is. And then when you say it, then you're going to have those people who be like, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, no, this is not the right time to do it. What makes you think, oh, you're not qualified to do that? Do you know how many people have been trying to do this? You know how long it's going to take? So they have all of those things, and they're throwing all of those things your way to shut you down. So do you have that audacity to say, okay, I don't care what they say, I don't care if I don't have the money in the bank, I'm still going to go, I'm still going to keep shouting, I'm still going to keep knocking on those doors that I need to knock on? If they are, one door has to open. There has to, out of a thousand no's, there has to be like a yes at some point. So if you're persistent, and that's what was with this blind man, he was persistent. He kept shouting, and the louder, the more they tried to shut him down, to shut him up, the louder he screamed, the louder his voice got, the louder he called out. So in the face of discouragement, in the face of others trying to pull you down, use the discouragement that they're giving you, that they're feeding you, or they're throwing your way. Use the whole negatives that they're throwing your way to ginger you, to push you, to propel you to move further, or propel you, or give you the strength to shout louder. And I thought that was really interesting. Another interesting point that I sort of like came up with, or saw, was towards the end of the passage where it says they all rejoiced. I mean, these are the same people who were saying to him, oh, be quiet, you're being a bother. Yet they're the same people who, when he was healed, when they saw what happened, made a 360, that automatically just changed. And that just really shows us how life is. When you're starting something out, when you say, hey, I'm going to do this, or God is calling me to do this, you're going to have all those people say, you can't do that, you can't do it. What makes you think you're going to be able to do that? Da, 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 da. But once God opens that door, once God blesses that, and that that thing, that plan that you had, just manifest, they're going to be the ones who are like, yes, we knew you all along that you could do this. We knew that you could do this. So you're gonna have them just rallying around you and praising in that moment as well with you. It may not be genuine, it may be genuine, but it just goes to show that don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to, those who are trying to pull you down. Don't listen to those who will not support you or encourage you or push you to do what God has placed in your heart to do. So it's really important for us to remember, to recognize also another thing, from the passage too, was, just recognizing when Jesus is passing by. And I think I alluded to that a little earlier. Just when to pay attention. Don't be distracted by the crowd. Don't be distracted by the noise. I say this all the time. There's just so much going on in our world today, in our lives, that we tend to really be distracted. We tend to not hear the Spirit speaking. We tend to miss a God moment because we're so distracted by what is going on. Here's this blind man. There's a huge crowd around him, and of course they're not quiet. There's just a lot going on. There's this huge commotion going on, but he was able to, in that moment, recognize when he asked, it's like, okay, what's happening? Who's that? And they said to him, oh, it's Jesus, he's passing by. And then he recognized in that moment, he didn't want, I mean, he didn't miss a God moment. That was a God moment. That was his moment, and he did not miss it because he recognized that Jesus was passing by, and he seized that moment. So in our daily lives, in everything that we do, we have to remember. We have to remember and be conscious of the fact that when we're so distracted or too distracted, we don't hear God as clearly as we should, because there's just so many different noises coming at us, coming, sifting through our ears, through our hearts, through our minds. So there's a lot going on in there. But if we're in tune with the Spirit, if we're in tune with God, if we shut the world out, then we're able to recognize when God is passing by, when he's speaking to us, when he's showing us something. We're able to say, oh, there it is. Oh, I hear that. And we're not being distracted, or the message, or God's message for us is not being interfered with by the different noises that are happening or going on, what's the chaos that's going on all around us. So it's really important. It's really important for us to recognize that. And also another message here in this passage is not to be discouraged. Do not be discouraged, and regardless of what you're going through, don't be discouraged. Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope when you're in your situation. You have to hold on to your faith. You have to know that God has you in the palm of his hands, and it doesn't matter what it looks like now. You have to keep at it. You have to keep doing what you're doing. Be faithful in the situation or the position that you're in, and just keep at it. Keep doing what you're doing, because you know that God has you in the palm of his hand. So it's really important for us to remember that we should not be discouraged. If he was discouraged, if this blind man had decided, okay, they've told me to shut up, there's too many people, he's not even gonna hear me, who am I that he will turn back and even acknowledge me? If he had that mentality, or if he let that discouragement overtake him, then he would not have gotten his healing. He would not have gotten his breakthrough that day, in that moment. So it's really important for us to stay in the zone. Don't be discouraged, because so many things will come our way to discourage us from getting to where we need to be. They'll discourage things. So many things will try to stop us from arriving at that destination. Good evening, Sister Anne Marie. But it's important for us to just stay encouraged, to constantly encourage ourselves. And remember, I said earlier too that sometimes you might not have that person who will encourage you. I mean, the scripture doesn't tell us about somebody saying to him, "Oh, okay, yeah, keep shouting," or "No, shout a little louder." Nobody said that to him. I don't know if your version is different, but I've read all the versions, and I haven't seen where it says, oh, he was, encouraged. They were like, oh no, keep shouting all the more, keep shouting the louder, or someone held him and said, okay, let me help you go to him. It doesn't say that. And so sometimes you're not going to have that person who will encourage you. You're not going to have that. So you have to be your own encourager. You have to be that person who says, you know what, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to do this, I was created for this, I'm meant to do this. And you have to encourage yourself and keep moving and keep doing what God has placed in your heart to do. So if it is a scream, just keep screaming louder until you get that attention, until you get whoever's attention you're calling and seeking out for. Keep knocking at those doors. If you're writing a proposal for a business idea that you have, just keep writing it. If they reject it, you go back, you revisit it again, you write it again, you rewrite. Just keep rewriting whatever it is that you need to do. Keep doing it again. Don't be discouraged. Just keep going at it. Keep encouraging yourself. Do not be discouraged, because what the enemy wants is to discourage us. And when he discourages us, he knows that he's more kind of halfway won, because in that moment where you're discouraged, you can't do anything. You feel like you don't have any hope. You feel like, oh, I can't go on, there's nothing, what is my life's not worth living, what am I, and you have all those thoughts in your head, and you're all negative and you're down. But if you keep being encouraged, if you keep encouraging yourself, especially if you don't have people around you to lift you up, to encourage you, you will get the attention of the Son of David, because he kept shouting. The more they said, be quiet, the louder he shouted, Son of David, Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me. Have pity on me. And of course, he saw him, he heard him, and he asked him, and he says, what do you want me to do for you? What do you want from me, sir? What is it you want from me? And he says, please let me see. So he recognized his need. Again, that's another thing, recognizing what we need, recognizing what we really and truly need is always important, because many times too we don't know what we need. We know what we want, like the things that we want, but do we really know the things that we need? Do we know what we need? So recognizing that we do have a need, and this is the need that we have, being specific in that need that we have. Lord, please let me see. And we're told, I mean, this here just reminds us that Jesus is always going to listen to our requests. But what should that request be? What are you seeking from the Lord? What is it that you're asking God to bless you with? What is that that's on your heart? Is it something that is really and truly beneficial to your spiritual health, to your faith walk? Is it something that will be beneficial to others, or is it a want that you have for, just for your own selfish gain or selfish needs? So it's really important for us to recognize what the need is, what we really need, and ask God for that. And of course, when we do ask God for it, if it's if it's in His will, and if it's what we truly need, because He knows everything that we need. He will definitely grant it to us. So we need to have this firm assurance. We need to have this firm assurance in Christ, this firm assurance that He is our great provider, and He always provides. As long as we ask in faith, He will always provide and give us what we need. So is your prayer today, Lord, let me see, please let me see. So if you're asking Him to let you see, what is it that you're asking for to see, to open your eyes to see what from His vantage point? See with eyes of faith. Are you blind today? Are you that person today who is just blinded spiritually, or you feel as though your sight is going dim. You want the Lord to open your eyes tonight. And so it's really important for us to remember that. And just a whole the whole thought or theme for me when I was reading this, two things I just came up with was just faith and persistence. Just faith and persistence, faith and persistence. Do you have that faith? There's so much that we can learn from this blind man. Do you have that faith? And are you persistent in that faith? Do you just have the faith when, oh, things are going great and, that's good and that, you're up there and yeah, I got this faith. But when you're down, when you're in that moment where it's not all rosy, it's not good. It's not great. Are you persistent in those times where things are not great? It took raw courage. I'm telling you, just raw courage and bold, very, very bold persistence for this blind man, to get the attention of Jesus. Again, remember, we're surrounded by so much. We're surrounded by noise. We're surrounded by all the naysayers. We're surrounded by people who do not believe in us, who will not believe in us, who don't think we're doing anything, we're worthy of anything. And so in the face of all of that, are you able to say, hey, Jesus, son of David, are you able to shout all the louder when all those naysayers say, okay, no, stop, be quiet? And you're like, no, you're not going to shut me down. You're not going to shut me down. I'm going to shout all the louder. And I was wondering too, why was the crowd annoyed with the blind man's persistence? Why were they bothered by that? Why were they bothered by that? They probably thought, okay, you're really disturbing our peace right now. This man is teaching, he's speaking, and we're trying to just really get what he's saying to us, but you're interrupting us with your noise, so you need to be quiet. But it's incredible how when you're desperate enough, when you get to that point where there's just there's this need and this aching for a change, that you can overpower however many people come against you. So he's one man. He's one meekly one man, blind man. And you have a crowd of people who are shouting, who are trying to silence him. But this one man is like, I will not be silent. So his loud and emotional outburst, I mean, he dug deep, and he's like, today is the day. You have to get to that point where it's like, oh my gosh, when you recognize that your hour has come, or your time has come, and you're like, there's no way this is passing me by. There's no way. Good evening, Sister Grace. There's no way this moment is going to pass me by. So I don't care whoever is here. I don't care what the rabbis or the learned people that are here. I don't care who you are, all you teachers, whatever you call yourselves. I don't care how many people try to shut me down. I am going to scream as loud as I can. And the more you try to shut me down, the louder I'm going to scream until I get his attention. So you have to really get to that point where it's like, I've had it. I mean, I've had it, and this is it. And once you see that moment, you have to seize it. You really have to want it. And this man wanted that. He really, really wanted that moment. He wanted to seize that moment. And he was not going to let anything stop him from seizing that moment, from having his day. So are we able to tap into or just learn a little bit or just get a little bit of that courage today in our lives? What is it that you're trying to do, or what is it that you've tried to do, but so many people have shut you down, or so many people have discouraged you, and because they've said like one negative word, or they've said, oh, that's not going to work, or who do you think you are, or nobody's going to listen to you, they said something, and then you just okay, that's it, it's not going to work, then I'm just going to no. Hopefully the story of this man today will encourage you to shout all the louder, to shout all the more, in the midst of the whole noise, in the midst of everyone saying, be quiet. And it's also another important thing here that I thought of was just how loving and how God sees us. He sees each and every one of us. I mean, he knows us and he sees us. And for Jesus to stop and look at him like they brought him to him. Like he had like his one-on-one moment with him. He could easily have ignored him because, oh, he's talking and he's going like, okay, who are you? Why would you, interrupt me? But Jesus recognized and looked at him with love. Are we able to just learn a little bit from that too? From our Lord? Just seeing the other person. Seeing the other person and just looking at them in love. Empathizing with them. Not only did our Lord empathize with his suffering, but he was willing and he relieved him of his suffering. So are we able to learn today how to see the other person? To look at the other person with eyes of love? Are you desperate enough today to shout louder even in the face of opposition? Are you desperate enough? Are you hungry enough to achieve that which is in your heart? To shout louder even in the face of opposition and the naysayers? Are you willing to cry out for what you need and not let others shut you down? Are you willing to cry out for what you need and not let others shut you down? What's your level of desperation today? What's your level of desperation today? Are you at that point where you're like, I'm not going to let this moment pass me by? And regardless of what is going on around me, regardless of all the discouragement that's around me, regardless of all the naysayers around me, definitely not letting this moment pass me by. So let's be encouraged today by these. Hopefully you're able to take something away from just my personal reflection on and my personal take on this portion of scripture, on this really amazing. I just really love this. It's one of my favorites. And it's one of my go-tos as well. Because I always remember, like every time I feel as though I can't go on or I feel down, I think about that blind man. I mean, talk about guts. Talk about guts. I mean, there's a crowd, there's a mob of people. And he's like, oh, nobody's going to shut me down. You can't shut me up. I'm going to scream all the louder. And he did. And he got the Lord's attention. So who's desperate tonight? Hopefully you're as desperate as I am tonight to cry out and cry out loudly. To shout out loud over the naysayers tonight. And say, hey, today's the day. I'm not going to let this moment pass me by. So on that note, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on Faith Matters tonight. It is always a pleasure to come on and share with you just personal reflections and just how our faith journey is going. And hopefully you will all have an amazing rest of the week. I want to take the time to say thank you again to family who joined me on 89.1 FM. Thank you so much. To those who are streaming on newseasonfm.com, I really do appreciate you. And of course, Facebook and YouTube family in the room, thank you all so much for coming on tonight. Thank you, Sister Marcia. Thank you, Yeye. Sister Grace. Thank you, TJ. Thank you so much, Sister Anne Marie. Sister Crescent, thank you for coming on. Akil, I saw you somewhere there. Thank you for coming on tonight. Sister Laurel, thank you all so much for coming on tonight. Don't forget to join in His presence tomorrow, our morning devotion at 6:30. Start off with us in the morning, bright and early, and just commit the day to God. In His presence starts at 6:30, our morning devotion. And then you're going to circle back and come at 8 a.m. for the Pastor Steve Show. It's Turn Up Tuesday inside the Pastor Steve Show tomorrow. And then you're going to go and have an awesome day tomorrow. And you're going to circle around back and come back at 7:30 for Speak the Word with Reverend Crescent Hessen. It's always an amazing time to hear what God has to say through her. And so, again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Taking us out this evening will be King of Kings. Again, one of my covers that I wanted to share tonight. So remember, God is good. Whatever you're going through, don't be discouraged. Don't let the naysayers shut you down. Have an amazing rest of the week, and I'll see you all next week, God's willing.
Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, He is my song. 'Cause you are good. You're good. Oh, 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 let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, He is my song. 'Cause you are good. gonna let me down. And you're never gonna let me down. And you're never gonna let me down. And you're never gonna let me down.